Okay, let's try this again. So, welcome to the sacred, um, the sacred fire. This is an introduction call. I wanted to kind of get to explain to you a little bit about what I have in mind with this, what I'd like to accomplish with this workshop that I'm offering. So, I want to thank all of you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to watch this. And I invite you to ask me any questions that you might have. So I want to start off by saying, kind of giving you some stages of life, how things kind of work out here. So we're born into this world, and we're given a whole bunch of abilities and talents, but we don't have an instruction manual on how to use them or what to do with them. So the result is we muddle through our younger years trying to fit in, all the while thinking, there's something wrong with us because, we have these things that are different. So we may be inherently shy and highly sensitive, and that those around us just don't get it. They don't understand why we prefer our own company, or maybe we want to be with the dog or the cat or a horse instead of being with other people. That's the water element, by the way. So then we mature a little bit, and we start to see through trial and error what works and what doesn't. But we still wrestle with fitting in, trying to please others and not wanting to rock the boat, so we can avoid any emotional backlash. Well, the result of this is we begin to define ourselves. We're starting to get an inkling of what we are capable of. But circumstances don't allow us to follow our heart's whispers because, we need to support ourselves, and maybe we're raising a family. So we chase after financial security, and we deny our true potential. So here's an example. Imagine someone who is highly sensitive and very talented artist. Like, let's say she's a singer, but she works in law enforcement. Okay, granted, she is more compassionate than others on the force, but she just doesn't fit in, and her life force is being stifled by this job. But she's there because of the pay and the benefits. Take another highly sensitive and compassionate person who has a career in a large corporation crunching numbers. She has a strong earth work ethic, but her heart longs to rove the world. So then life goes on, and something happens. Here comes the wake-up call. It can be an accident or an illness or losing your job or maybe you split in your relationship, or the kids leave home, or it could be anything. It could be something unexpected that shakes up your life and makes us stop and say, what else is there? The result is we begin an inner journey to discover who we really are and why we are here, and how to live out a joyous and meaningful life, how to live out your soul's desire. We say, kill off the villains and start a new story. We may feel an inner urge that we must do something more, something bigger than we currently are, and we timidly probe the depths of our being. Before we can step fully into our path, our life circumstances have to align with, our soul and our heart and our mind. We got to get them all connected. So this is the stage where I can be of service of you and encourage you along the path of your destiny. I'd love to show you how to take the abilities and the talents that you're born with and write a thriller story about your life. Okay, maybe you don't want to write a thriller novel, but how about a story that includes love and romance, a healthy, strong body, satisfying work, and a supportive group of people where you feel valued, respected, accepted for who you are, and you do something important. I've spent years, actually a lifetime, seeking answers, mostly for why I have psoriasis. I have come to the conclusion that the psoriasis has been a driving force to make me seek out what I'm supposed to do and how I could overcome my fears and go ahead and do that. I think and talk a lot about purpose, soul's mission, and destiny. It's something in my being. I've always felt like I've had a destiny. But even when I started understanding more about why I'm here, I was terrified to engage with it. It felt too powerful. I sensed it was fears repeating from other lifetimes where I had a lot of power, and I had done harm with it, and I did not want to go there again. But here I am. I'm a role model for you. If I could come out of the psychic closet and liberate my fire, so can you. I'd like to invite you to a workshop on the sacred fire element. Discover how the fire element plays out in your astrology and human design charts and influences your personality and your soul's path. See how your soul uses your personality and your emotions to gain the experiences it craves. Your soul incarnated for a reason, and it will get no satisfaction no matter what it takes. This workshop is open to anyone who wants to know more about themselves and their direction in life. You don't need to know astrology or human design to get something out of it. Here's a taste of what we're going to do in this course. First of all, we're going to talk about we're going to address the question, how does your fire support or hinder you following your purpose and living a meaningful life? So the goal of this workshop is to get more clarity about who you are and how you go about your life's mission. This will help you provide this will help to provide tools for you to make peace and heal the old saga and birth a new story about yourself and your life. You'll have access to videos in this series that will discuss the fire element and what a fire personality is and the role that fire plays in the bigger picture. And we'll discuss the fire signs of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius and their personality and their soul desire and their karma. And we'll talk about the sun, the moon, the earth, and the ascendant. These are like the 4 major influences and that represent you and the core plot of your life story. And we'll talk about where these elements are placed in your chart, the sun and the moon and the earth in particular, and how they influence these certain areas of your life. And then we'll talk about the human design gates in the fire triad, which adds another dimension to interpreting those gate interpretations. And we'll talk about the deepest desires and the fears of each sign. And we'll talk about the conflicts and the conundrums in your chart. And this is where you'll really be able to get in touch with the things that are limiting you and stopping you, and be able to figure out how to address those. So you will also receive handouts and worksheets to identify the fire in your chart and the story that it tells. And this session will be a 90-minute session. It's recorded, and during this time, it'd be nicest if you could watch the videos ahead of time, because then you'll be able to you'll have a sense of what we're already talking about, and you'll be able to we can talk about your charts and spend as much time as we can talking about your charts, so that you can understand what's going on and how things actually play out for each one of each person that's part of this group. So I'd like to invite you to sign up immediately, because I need time to prepare your charts and send them to you, so you have them before we meet. You'll be getting a lot of reference material and a lot of information that applies directly to you. So this class is like a super deal at $49. So now I'd like to share an example of what I'd like to show you how to create for yourself. It's a story of your soul working through your sun. So this story is very simplified, but we'll talk about it anyway. So I have 6 planets in Leo, and my ascendant is in Sagittarius. And so these are both fire signs. So you'd think with that much fire, I'd be off the planet all the time. Well, I do spend a certain amount of time off planet. And that I would be bold and loud and the life of the party, And you probably have met people who have a Leo sun and are friendly and chatty and bold and colorful and dramatic and opinionated. Well, I am all those things, but in secret, I'm hugely shy, thanks to all of my fire being marooned on a desert island surrounded by deep water. The fire in my chart is trapped by water, and water likes to be quiet and hide. If that's not enough, Saturn, the taskmaster, makes sure I don't have too much fun. Saturn says, do your chores before you go out and play. Get that job finished before you quit. Have you heard that from your parents or your bosses? I'm a deep, sensitive closet Leo. You wouldn't believe how scary and vulnerable it has been to come out into the open and be here talking with you. My first inclination is to procrastinate and not engage and hide. So this is an example of an interesting conundrum that can show up in your chart. And you may be told that you're this or you're that, but without understanding some of these more subtle conundrums, you can wonder, well, why am I not like that? I'm supposed to be a Leo and out there having fun, but instead I'm here hiding. So it's these things that show up in your chart that you may not know and understand about yourself. And that's the blessing of understanding more of these subtle nuances that happen in your chart. Your soul expresses through the ascendant. The ascendant is the place on where the soul energy first meets the physical world, and there's this transition that happens, and the soul has to figure out what it means to be human. It didn't come with an owner's manual either. So it's a process of trials and error, and that takes a lifetime to master. So the ascendant is that point in the constellation that's on the horizon at the moment of your birth, and it carries the theme in your heroine story, the theme for the plot of your life this time. Now, I've always loved stories, and I've read a lot, and I've often imagined myself as a key character at the stories I've read. And I wondered what my life would be like if I was the hero in the story. So now I've started writing stories. When we come to telling our personal stories, our narratives need characters, a goal, something that the character must do, and obstacles to overcome. The obstacles are what makes us grow. Each of us comes complete with the plot, which is our ascendant and our soul, and then our personality. The heroine has strengths that she doesn't know that she has, and she also has flaws that sabotage her, create tension. And villains throw hurdles and create mountains and undermine her so that she has to learn and grow and become more than when she started. That's kind of like the character arc plot of a good story. In my case, with the Sagittarius ascendant and the destiny, the story of my soul could go something like this. My soul is telling my Leo sun, surrender your ego to spirit and trust yourself and others. Become the wise woman who perpetually seeks the truth with eternal optimism, who heals people's self-image by creatively helping them see a bigger perspective of themselves and retell a different, more optimistic and enlightened version of their stories of the past. Seek the deeper, bigger truth and find the humor in the mistakes of the past and forgive those that hurt. Don't get lost in philosophies. Instead, add your truth to the greater whole. And like a heroine in a good novel, grow and expand and serve selflessly, showing others how we all fit into the same big picture. Of course, the more I learn, the deeper will be the meaning of my soul story. That's the blessing and the mystery and the wonder of being alive. Our story is ever evolving, and that's what makes it so wonderful, because we are the author and we can change the plot and the characters and what they do and how they do it. I've learned that from being an author. So I'd like to teach you how you can write the story of your soul's mission. You can take the themes of the fire signs and apply them to the life areas where the major planets are located. Add in the gate themes from human design and get more clarity and detail, and receive your marching orders from your soul. As you start down the path with a rudimentary set of instructions from your soul, you will be guided to those who can help you take the next step. And as you get wiser and more clarity about each step, after each step, you'll gain emotional maturity and strength as you face your demons and feel liberated and powerful and filled with a sense of joy and accomplishment and satisfaction as you overcome each hurdle and awaken and deepen a new perception about yourself. Then you'll say, I'm grateful for who I am, and I wouldn't want to be anyone else. Let's go on this adventure together. You're invited to sign up, and I'll put the link in the comments below so that you can sign up. So let me see if there are any questions. I'm going to find out what I did with my Facebook. It's hiding. Oh, where did it go? Let me see. I got to refresh this. I was so busy talking, I didn't go take a look at what's going on Facebook. Okay. Does anyone have any questions or would like to know more, or just let's see. Oh, now I got stuck over here. Okay. Well, if there's no questions, I will go ahead and sign off and wish all of you a really wonderful day. And I invite you to think about the story that you've been telling yourself, and think about the story that you would like to be telling yourself. And I invite you to join me for the first segment of 4. I'm going to be doing all 4 elements and the signs and the gates that relate to those. And so this one will be on fire and awakening the fire and understanding the fire that's within you. So I hope to see you. It's next Saturday, March 9th. And go to my website and you can sign up. Until then, we'll talk next time.